All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unconventional Wisdom, the MMT live investment show. I'm Micah. I've been working with Micro Moment for, man, how long?
Forever.
A while now. past,
Good for
uh,
you.
past 6-ish years, helping them out, doing some coaching for them, and trading as well. We're doing it with Randy. Randy teaches the covered calls, some of the long-term techniques, and the techniques to manage those long-term positions, along with plenty of other stuff. Masterful trader. Tim, how's it going, Tim?
Good.
Good. Good. Teacher of the micro moment trading. Very fast trades, sub 1 minute usually. We're in and out of those things.
Yep.
Him and Deshaun, who will not be here today, Joe.
He will not be here today. He's in
Will not
Man
be here.
Beach.
Oh my! Very nice. Very nice. So it sounds like Deshaun is doing the best out of all of us today, as far as quality of day.
Yeah.
Tim teaches the micro moment trading, and again, very fast trades, very efficient, and really cool process they have set up. And then Joe has been trading for just a couple of years now. We're trying to show him the ropes and get him comfortable with it.
Yeah.
No, Joe is the forefather, so to speak.
Yeah.
How long you been
Trading since I'm 77. I've been trading since I was 20, so 50 some years.
Okay, so still getting to know the land, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Awesome. And really exciting week this week because we have a little core group here, and then next week I believe we're actually having a new panelist join. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up about that in the first place. That's going to be really exciting. A new MMT coach is probably going to be on here with us.
His name's Mark, and he's going to be doing QQQ like Tim does Apple, and Deshaun does SPY, and he's going to be doing QQQ.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
And just one thing, then I'll be quiet. We had a great day today, 40.73303% just today in that micro moment trading.
Wow.
And for the week, counting today, it's up to 129.1821%.
Wow. Man, Tim, you guys have been rolling.
Yeah, it's been we've had good days. Had some good days.
Have you seen some pretty increased volatility, or have you guys just been catching more trades in the same type of market?
Really just catching more trades in the same kind of market. Apple's been following a bit of a pattern for the last 3-4 weeks. Right after the gap fill, it'll start into a gentle decline. So we're able to get in and get some trades pretty quickly off the top. And
kind of pattern day going into it.
Yeah, Micah, this is our 96th week as a subscription service. We've been doing it for over 4 years, and it's just our own corporate account. And Tim and these three guys do our corporate accounts. So these are real trades, and plus their own accounts. And we're up 99% a week for those 96 weeks since it's been a subscription service. So.
Wow, our 99% average. Yeah. Man.
It should be. I think it should be over 100 now.
Probably. I can go back to compute it in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but we've been having these way over 100 weeks. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's going to start setting in pretty soon after 96 entries to that average. It's going to start getting harder to move that needle.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's at a pretty good place, though. I think that's okay. It's a pretty good average. Awesome, Randy. How's your week going?
Going good. Market's going crazy again today. It's after declining substantially last week, we're back above all-time highs on the Dow. That's great.
Oh, so it's almost recovered all of last week as well.
Yeah. The Dow's at all-time high, so it's above last week.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And the S&P's knocking on the door. The Nasdaq's not quite there yet, but So all the positions I had last week that were lower because of the decline, I just managed them into this week, and they're all going to be positive called returns tomorrow. Nice. They're really deep in the money now.
Nice.
Perfect. That's incredible. Randy's technique, if anybody doesn't know, Randy's technique is well, one of the technique he's talking about is based on a stock position, but there's a lot more than you can do with something than just buy it. Oh no, it went down. I'll have to wait, and then it goes up. And oh wait, I make money, but I don't want to sell it because I could make more. And it just negates that beginning of that circular reasoning. There's a lot of management techniques that go into that, and he's very knowledgeable in those. So that's what he meant by it matters if it goes up and down. How would you say that? Does it matter if it goes up or down? It still does, but
yeah, I mean it's better if it stays the same or goes up, but it doesn't matter if it goes down, because with the management process, actually it's increased the profits on each position for this week as well. So
that's true.
It's good. Well, I have to knock on wood. Tomorrow's not finished yet. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But if the market goes down, then we just manage again for the next week, and we'll get a profit out of it. So
yeah, simple.
Works good.
Awesome. Topic of the day I'd like to introduce is how to get started as a self-directed investor. This week we wanted to talk about this because perfect. Yep. Hey, Story Seeker, how's it going? Today we were talking. Oh, Siri. Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
I hate that. I hate that when your phone is listening to you.
Yeah.
Always. All our devices are listening.
Yeah. You just only know it every once in a while that it's actually listening to you all the time.
Yeah, Siri used to interrupt Joe on the morning podcast all the time.
Yeah.
Let's start talking in the mic. No, how to get started as a self-directed investor. Not from our angle at all, but as a topic. So, we're not going to give you the intro course to our techniques, but more, there's just a lot to look at. When you come into the world of trading, it's a bit daunting. It's a bit intimidating, and it's meant to be that way for one thing. But it becomes hard to start to break down all of these, big words coming at you, and all of these, everybody saying, hey, you can make 1,000% in a week. No, you can make, 4% this year if you try really hard. And it's just this mess. So we want to start to kind of de-scramble that and some things to look out for as a very beginner trader. And if you guys have been trading for a while, please continue to ask questions. If you drop anything into the comment box of YouTube or Facebook, we'll be able to see those comments live, put them up like so, and answer those. So really good editorial this week, Joe.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, I told Tim after this morning what the topic was this morning, and actually the topic I told him is next Thursday, not this Thursday. Yeah, I'd written the editorial on this trader thing. And I think it's simple. I think so many people get so confused because they think, let's say you know nothing about trading and you want to become a trader because you've had how you can make a lot of money. Then they start going wrong by trying to get all involved in what I call day trader type stuff and trying to learn, trying to evaluate stocks. And it takes you forever. What you need to do is do exactly what we do and what Randy does. It takes some basic good things that aren't going to go down, aren't going to go out of business, like the indexes, QQQ, and probably the exception would be Apple and SPY, the largest index of all times. They're not going anywhere, so then you don't have to worry about trying to evaluate something to decide if you need to invest about it, and then have that background. Oh, is this a good deal? Is this stock going to change? And is it going to go out of business? They start there. You eliminate a lot of time. So now you start. Then you say, well, now how do I trade this SPY? How do I trade this Apple? Then you go to online. You got all kinds of trading systems online. They're all good. They all have the same insurance liability requirements, and they're all relatively simple to use. Now, I'm just giving you the summation, then you guys can argue about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Now you're not going to waste time trying to become a genius on picking out stocks because there's no geniuses, and the geniuses, the major brokerage company doesn't get it wrong. And the average return of mutual funds is 5% a year, and we make that in a couple of minutes. So you've got good stocks or good selections you're going to trade. You got to now have a simple trading platform, and the way you do it is you get one and you try out on virtual trading. So you can virtual trade this stuff with you can have real money in there, but they're going to give you $100,000 virtual money. You can trade until you get good. And that's the big basic things. People waste so much time. They try to they go to classes and they spend money trying to determine how to evaluate stocks. It's a waste of time. And so then once you've got it down to where you can trade now, you trade until you finally are successful. And then you've got to be concerned about trying to overtrade, trying to do too much. You don't need to do too much. You shouldn't trade more than an hour a day. So now you've got what you're going to trade. You've got a trading platform, and you know you're not going to trade more than an hour a day. And why an hour? Because your mind gets cluttered up with all kinds of stuff. And essentially, that's what I think you need to do to go from no trading abilities whatsoever to become an expert trader. You got a good stock, you got a good trading platform, which you know how to use, and now you're not going to overtrade. And all that's based on many, many years of experience. And Randy knows that. Tim, Deshaun know that. And so that's all I've got to say on the subject.
No, now
you're a genius trader.
I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. So let's break into the parts of that. So that first step, Joe, to select your stocks, I think that's a very good one to start with, because as people approach it, they're not only made to decide what stock they're going to trade, but they have Forex, they have all sorts of different futures markets, and now Bitcoin and everything with blockchain, and there's so many different things to trade. How, or Randy or Tim, your opinions too, how should people go about starting to narrow what they even want to trade?
Okay, you direct that to me?
Yeah, you first.
Yeah. Well, so you don't know anything about it, right? You need to go, and your biggest concern when you're trying to get started, you're going to pick something that's going to go out of business, going to drop down, you're going to lose money. That would just be natural. You're going to go into this and say, I made the wrong choice. It didn't go up, it went down. I'm going to lose money. And you worry about all that stuff. Pick out things that aren't going to go out of business. Pick out those QQQs, those indexes, and trade those indexes. They trade their stock. They trade just like anything, except they're not going to go out of business. Okay, that's the big thing. So that now you have to just concentrate on the technique you're going to use. That's I left that out a while ago. The technique, besides your trading platform, now what technique do you do? And then you don't spend too much time doing it. I totally left out the technique. You got to come up with a simple technique, and not be a day trader, not join those groups and be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Pick out a sound, simple technique, which obviously we think we have it in the micro moment and with Randy's stuff. It's rule-based, and you just follow those rules. You got to have some rules to follow. You just can't all of a sudden get past the tough one, which is picking out, what stocks you're going to use. You've already done that. Now, how do you trade it, and what are you trying to do with it? And then once you're successful, you don't spend too much time. So,
and that's one thing I would highlight, regardless of what you choose or how you choose it, is you have to have rules. Mm-hmm. And that is a common, core of every trader will tell you, how to go about that. Tim, how do you think people should narrow down what they want to start trading?
Yeah, well, my first rule is keep it as simple as possible. I had really kind of looked for years a way to kind of get in and take control of my finances and actively invest in trade, and not to build us up so much, but it was really the first technique that I saw that I understood right off the bat. Uh-huh. It was that simple, and it was the simplicity that made it for me, not to mention, the returns over history. We could go back a long ways and, see returns. But for me, it was one of the first things I saw immediately that worked. Yeah. I've always liked options. It was a simple technique, and I really encourage people to, do your due diligence, but find the simplest thing that will get you to where you want to go. That's
yeah. He hit a very big point, very big point. He likes options. Why does he like options? Because people don't like to put a lot of money into it when they start trading. A lot of money into it. Options, you don't. You're paying for a fraction of what a stock costs, but you're not borrowing money. You're not leveraged. You don't have margin, which will wipe you out in a second. So you got the good trading platform. You've got what you want. He's got a good trading platform. He's got the technique, and where he's using options and not putting tons of money, he can do so much more, return using options because he's only putting a few bucks. So
Marion says all the scam companies make people think they have to discover the next big thing, which in my opinion is such a wasteful concept and a path down the proverbial rabbit hole. I would tend to agree with you, because what happens if that's not the next big thing? It's not necessarily that you have the chance to discover that. It's that you get into the mode of looking for it. And so once it fails, you look again and you look again, and then you're off to the races, and that's kind of the point that we want to avoid. Yeah. Joe, that's a really good point though, that the cost of entry. Tim, how much do you spend per share? Because sometimes, like, people can't buy 20 shares of Tesla to make a trade. Their accounts don't look like that. So even if you're looking at Apple, what does it actually cost to?
Sure. Well, Apple's trading at what, 230 right now. I don't have a chart up currently. If I were to trade purely the stock, I'd have to have thousands of dollars to invest in it and wait. With options, I have 100 to 1 ratio. I can control 100 shares with one contract for $1. So the leverage is incredible. I don't know if there is any better leverage out there to be able to control a tradable instrument like that. So, in the morning, pardon?
Leverage that doesn't use margin is very cool.
Yeah. So like Joe was saying, $500, you can get into options trading and you can start profitably trading options. Unlike anything else that requires, whatever it takes. Just simple fact that we don't have to own the stock. We're just borrowing the right, as it were, to use it for a short period of time. Makes it very attractive.
Yeah, you have to remember margin's only 50% anyhow. So if he's talking Apple, let's say Apple's $200 a share. So the best you're going to do is you're still going to put $100 in a share. If you use 50% margin, he is putting in $1 a share, equivalent basis. $1 a share is an option contract. $1 versus 200.
Right.
Huge.
Right. Plus some minor fees. But where else can you get that? So if you're if you're new to this and this is something that you want to get into, particularly if you're young and you don't have a ton of money yet, I think that's what makes options particularly attractive, is the low cost of entrance.
I just got so many things to say on this. Talking about a ton of money. Just in the last couple of days, I was reading an article. CNBC had this great. Oh, it's in Forbes. Forbes had this great article about how this virus, all this money's coming from the government, the virus coming to everybody. You can take just a fraction of those payments and open an account and get going in the techniques that we use. And now there's a source there, and grown-ups are listening. This is a great source to start your kids off. They'll never have to work again after 24 months. And they're going to get the money now. They're not going to have to borrow the money. And they're still probably going to have some money to do other foolish things with. But great time for that. Yeah.
So Tim, you talked about your simplicity being you log in and trade Apple options, and when it looks like this, trade it going up. When it looks like this, you trade it going down. You log off, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
Randy, you still select stocks, but you're not going through and looking for what's going to run and what's going to tank, and you can short the crap out of it or anything like that. How do you keep that simple when you still have to look at everything?
Yeah, a couple of things but not along those lines, as well as what Joe and Tim have been talking about. Tim's been talking about where options and it's very little money to invest. You're leveraging a huge amount And that's one of the important things here at Micro Moment Trading that we teach. So in addition to starting off, you need to get a broker platform. You need to learn how to use that broker platform and make sure you understand the information that it's giving you, so you don't think that you owe $750,000 and and end your life. But that's important, is make sure you understand that. And that's where virtual trading comes in, where you can trade virtually. Like Joe said, you have $100,000 of free money, you're trading, and then you can learn. It says, oh, what did that mean? I don't know what that, and you can learn effort. So that's important to know. One thing is to learn a process. So you've been talking about, Tim's been talking about in and out of positions in less than a minute, talking about in the positions. Learn process and get good at it. If you're like Marion said with the scams, you read something and says you can turn $10 into $10 million in a week. Well, no, you can't. That you just can't. Otherwise,
Right.
everybody would be a trillionaire.
Right.
You have to get good at something and keep doing it. So, Tim does Apple and learns Apple, knows all the ins and outs of Apple, just uses Apple every single day. Going out and all I'm looking for another position and another one and another one. Just constant. Deshaun does SPY. Mark's is doing Qs. So another important thing is just learn that. The next one is to have a tool that helps you do that. So what Tim's been talking about in my it, because you look at this chart, a streaming chart, which is what's happening? Webcam. There we go. The intraday stream chart that is proprietary to Mama Trading. It's developed. You learn how to use. And another really big, I get all kinds of emails from all, here's the best trading system. We got this best. They always talk about, here's what could have done last year, 3 years ago. Look at this chart, how great. They never talk about what they did yesterday. You get to see live exactly what's going on with Tim and Deshaun and Mark. They're teaching you at the moment exactly what's happening and how to read that chart, where to get in, how to exit, and it's real time. It's not, you could have done this last week, you could have done this last year, you would have been. It's real time trading, training on the trading that they're doing. Because they have that tool, it lowers the risk substantially. So they're just not the quote day traders. Like the traditional day trader that back in the .com days and stuff, where they 90% lost their money in a month. Right. This is educated day trading, where you learn with that tool, with that intraday streaming chart, you learn how to read all those lines, and that says this is the entry point, and you're listening to them talk about it and teach you while you're watching it every single morning. So that's another important thing, is to get a system that works, and one that's repeatable, and one that you can learn and follow, that has something behind it, not just hopes and mirrors and things. So then it comes to my process. So Tim's been talking about where you just buy the option and then sell it, and it's less than a minute. Now, when I do it, it's 2.5 minutes, but when Tim does it, it's less than a minute. So, but what I teach is with covered calls. It's a systematic weekly income generation process. So you are managing your own money to make money every single week. It's not turn $10 into $1 million in a month. You're just not going to do that. But it's a process, a set of rules. Micah talked about a rule-based technique. Joe talked about that. You take the training, you learn the process, and you repeat it over and over and over again. So when it comes to what Micah said, how do I select the positions every week? A covered call is you buy a stock and you sell an option against it. That gives somebody else the right to buy the stock from you at the price that you said, I'm willing to sell it for. And you set that price to make sure that you have a profit to do that. When we do the covered call, it's a deep in the money process. That means we're actually going to sell the stock for less than we paid for it, but we're going to get that option premium that far exceeds that, so that the overall outcome at the end of the week is all your money back and a profit. And you do that week after week after week after week, using the same money over and over again. Now, we have a set of rules of process to say what stocks do we select in order to do the covered calls on. And we're not doing the high flyers. They just came to the market with a IPO, or what's the new thing, a spec or whatever that thing is. No, we look at good, solid, quality companies that have been in business a long time, expected to be in business for a long time, and we buy that stock and sell an option against it. But I also teach the advanced process that instead of buying the stock, we buy an option that gives us the right to buy the stock and then sell an option against it. So as Tim mentioned, that leverages your money. So with that process, you earn weekly income, but because you're not buying the stock for $150 a share, meaning that you have thousands and thousands of dollars invested, we're buying the option for 80 cents, 90 cents, a dollar, and generating 6, 7, 8, 9% return on that in a week. So you have much less money actually at risk out there in the market, and still being able to generate income on a weekly basis, and then using the same money the next week to get a new position. So that's what I think are the important things. And I like doing, and I call it a synthetic covered call, because instead of buying the stock, I'm buying a specifically designed selected option to then sell an option against it. And that is a process that takes as more risk out of the market. So I don't have to have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars out there in the market, that the market could change. Well, as we've seen, it can change at the drop of the hat, and it can be going up and up and up. And in 2 minutes, it can totally reverse and go down as much as it just went up. The market is really pretty wild these last few months. But when you learn a process that says, if it goes up, here's what you do. If it goes sideways, here's what you do. If it goes down, here's what you do. There's a step for each of the directions, no matter which way it goes, to maintain your position and be able to keep generating income. So you have to be able to find that process so that you can you can learn it and then repeat it over and over again.
Yeah.
A couple things I'd like to add to what he's saying is, number one, he and we, all of us, look at stocks like people look at real estate. It's that simple. He's buying a stock. That's the real estate. It's an apartment house. And you're going to rent it. You're going to rent it by selling that call. And you know exactly, and you're in 100% control of the whole process. You're never exposed to the market. If he buys the stock and it goes down, he's going to make money because he's got the techniques to do it. And if it goes up, he's going to make money. So it doesn't make any difference which one. It's a piece of real estate, just like you buy real estate and your tenants move out. Well, assuming you got a good location, so he bought a good location. He bought an Apple or whatever, but it's real estate, just like real estate. And so you're not gonna have the problem. And secondly, one of the multiple things here, very important. Tim's not into things overnight. Tim's only into things maybe 16 to 30 seconds a day, a position or a trade, and that's it. The biggest problem people have is they get into something and they let it run over the weekend and it drops, and they justify it. They say, oh, well, it went down here. That's what stocks do. They go up and down. Yeah. Randy doesn't have that problem. Tim doesn't have that problem. Randy's, if they drop, he's got a technique to take care of it. He's going to make more money. Tim doesn't have that technique. He has no ability to do that so whatsoever. But he's only going to be in it for 16 to 30 seconds anyhow. He's going to be in it overnight. He's not going to be in it over a weekend. So he doesn't expose himself to that uncertainty. The other thing, when we started this stuff, I've got to tell you, when we started this stuff, 25 years as compound stock earnings. Still have the same people doing this in our micro moment trading seminars. We had people say, "Hey, I've been with you 20 years, been with you 15 years, whatever." When I started trading this stuff, it was because of my dad, and they didn't have trading platforms. They didn't even have computers. He died when he got a Radio Shack computer. I mean, it wouldn't tell anybody. You could just read the news, right? And since then, things have improved. When I was with Merrill Lynch, you couldn't do any of this stuff. And the CBOE has never come down since we started this many years ago with one single ruling that was detrimental to us. Every single thing has been to our advantage. And so, we've got some of the best published books on this subject. Covered Calls and Leaps of Wealth Option and a book on charting. And so we've been doing this a long time. And Randy's been with us a long time. Tim's, even though not quite as long, but certainly a long time. So
there's two main. Tim, did you have something?
No, I was just going to say, when you first start, kind of getting back to the original question, when you first start getting out there and you're looking for something to do within trading, there is just so much junk out there, and it's so difficult to kind of wade through all that and see what's real. If you're considering a technique, unless you can see it done live and demonstrated in front of you day after day, then throw it away. Just bypass it. You have got to be able to see it happen live. Relying on someone's past trades or opinion or technique of the week, as it were, our technique never changes, right? We don't find a new pattern and suddenly sell a new service. We have the same technique. It's the same day in and day out, and we just simply apply it to whatever's out there. And I think that's a huge difference between what we do and what, so many other options gurus do. But if you can't see that trader do it live in front of you in real time, then it's not real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. First of all, this is a great time for questions. So anybody that has any questions or comments or even disagreements, things you think are different, please drop them in that comment box and we'll be able to see that. Facebook Live too, if you guys are in here as well. But there's two main cores I'm seeing kind of come out of this. And that is, regardless of technique, where you're at, anything, is survivability and repeatability.
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say? And I know that's kind of what Joe covered, and simplicity would probably be the third of Joe's. But if you had to sum them up in those words, survivability is interesting because if you continue to have a brokerage account and it stays up, you can keep trading, right? So at the forefront of everything, you need to survive. Don't blow up your account so that you can continue to trade, because that time factor is so important, right? We've established you will not get rich overnight. You can't turn $1,000,000 into $1 million in that week because something ran really well. It's not going to happen. So unless you try to access margin, and we see way too many tales this last month of what happened to people that only had $5,000 and decided to put 75,000 on margin on the line, and we see how that works, and we see what happens when things get inverted and you can lose more than 100%, and all those terrible situations. Those are all career-ending things if you talk about your trading in terms of a career. So the first thing is just to survive. Don't blow it up. Don't use margin. Don't do that. But then you have to get into a repeatable process, right? Once you've given up, I'm not going to make 580% today, then you have to figure out, well, first of all, you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to be sitting down trading every day to make 5% that year. Mm-hmm. That would be, not worth it. And so that repeatability has to has to come in. And I think those are the two stances that it sounds like we got everything else from. Yeah. What are you saying, Joe?
Yeah. Just remember, Warren Buffett, his very first trade when he's a young guy was a covered call. He still does covered calls.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And he knows nothing about money.
He doesn't
So
know anything. He's as old as me. He couldn't possibly know what I know.
yeah, it's just interesting themes that you start to see appear.
Yeah.
And then the simplicity is self-explanatory. I think you got less gears in the machine, it's less likely to break. That's some tried and true information there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Again, feel free to drop in any questions or comments. It's a great time for it now. And then the last thing I want to touch on is understanding momentum, because I think there is something about this conversation that there's two things happening right now. One is more people are joining trading than ever before and coming to it. They're coming into a different market, and they themselves are changing that market to things that we've never seen happen before. So if there's anything, basically this is just meant for any notes that they should know coming into this new market. My personal note is understanding of momentum. Everything moves up and down, and then up and then down, and then up and then down. Randy, knows a lot about this. The stages of the life cycle. These stock movements have life cycles. They have all of these things that you see represented. So, the understanding momentum is the hot tip I would give, so to speak, to grant you the other three things in trading, which is repeatability, survivability, and simplicity. Tim, we'll start with you. What would you say to, regardless, and this is just concepts that if you're trading Forex, covered calls, anything?
Sure. Momentum is huge. In fact, that's something that we teach every morning in trading. Now, momentum to us on our short time scale is different than momentum for Randy. We're just looking for very short breaks or breakaways. We constantly reinforce, we get into that trade in momentum and we get out on momentum. The biggest issue that we have with micro moment trading is people hold on to a trade too long. They wait for that tick, that first bend in the tick when it's in momentum. Well, that's too late. We've got to get out before, and we've been teaching the concept of getting overfilled. When we're in a fast moving stock, that tick is nearly vertical, either going up or going down. Of course, we make money either way on calls or puts. We've been teaching about getting out of trades earlier on momentum because you're still getting overfilled. That price is always above on fast moving stocks. It's always going to be higher than what we see reported on our platform. All right, the computer is just working faster than it can report. So in a trade that has fast momentum, that price is increasing dramatically. If you get out earlier, you're still getting the advantage of getting overfilled when you close that trade. But we trade momentum trades. We look for those short breakouts that last 15 to 20 seconds, where we're getting those nice unbroken straight lines. Those are almost 100%. The success rate on those is in the high 90s for us. So it's very, very important. It's one of the first concepts we teach. One of the first patterns that we look for is momentum trades. Now, just kind of stepping back from that a little bit, our charts.
Clarify really quick, Tim. You also don't catch the little pops that you grab a portion of a larger move that has been moving before you got in and moves after you get out.
Right.
Another huge thing.
That's exactly right. We go in and we grab little bites of that straight line. We work in such micro time scales that our charts show us very nicely when momentum is changing when it's at its strongest, and when it is coming to an end. So we're able to graphically see where that momentum fits in the charts, and we can then decide our in and out points within it. But that's huge. Momentum is huge in what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do a couple of these comments, and then I'll ask Joe and Randy. A long time ago, I had a great teacher. He said to pick stocks to stay in business. Look at the charts, stay out of the margins, and margaritas while you trade. Those are all great advice.
Now, let me make a comment on that. Nothing was ever said about staying out of margaritas. A lot of times that can help. And Eleanor has been a client for she's in Boston, and we've had so many meetings up there, and she and her husband have been on cruises with us, and she's really a fantastic lady. I always enjoy hearing from her.
That's awesome. From M, so true, Micah. The semantical side of the techniques and the psychological side of trading are equal partners to one's success, and neither should be taken lightly. That's the thing, is at the end of the day, like, we can tell you this stuff, but it's up to you. Like, if you just continue to look for those things and continue to do those things, like, best of luck. Sometimes people hit it big, and people doing casinos too. Like, it's all good, but as far as we're concerned, if we're gonna give good, like, you lose in the end, and we want to give repeatable processes. Joe?
Yeah, one more thing, follow up on what you said about more and more people getting into trading. There's an article recently, and I think I might distribute it, but it's out in Forbes, and that's what the article was, that there are more people getting into trading today than ever before in the history, and they broke it down by age groups. And the ones that were doing the least were the oldest age groups. Obviously, but the younger ones were the most, and that's why it's so important to learn something now when you're young like that, and particularly today when there's a ready source of money being all these virus stuff.
And I'm really interested to see. Now he's moved on from margaritas to martinis. Hey.
Joe didn't say anything about not having a martini. Yeah.
That's fancy,
yeah, absolutely. And sorry, what did you say right before that, Joe?
I was just
the young people.
Martinis, yeah.
Oh yes, the people moving into trading.
Yeah,
I had a comment for that, but yeah.
That's what D&T means, drinking and trading.
Okay.
Yeah, I come from Wall Street. There was no bigger crowd going to the bar than Wall Street guys.
Yeah, that's fair. And that was before the trading day was over.
That's right. Oh yeah, that was at noon.
Yeah.
That's why most of the real gains were made after lunch.
Yeah. No, but Micah,
there you go. A little bit more.
That's kind of really, really important. I didn't start learning how to do this stuff till I was in 50. I mean, I wish I would have heard about it. Of course, it wasn't available back when I was young, but it would have been fantastic to be like you, Micah. You learned when you were like 16, 17 years old. It would have been fantastic to be able to learn how to manage my own money to generate income on a daily, weekly basis when I was in my 20s. I mean, my whole financial future would have been totally different with being able to do that. It's just fantastic what can be done these days, and the processes and techniques that we teach on how to generate income in a minute or in a week, depending on what you decide that you want to do. And time, when you're young, you've got all that time ahead of you that you can just keep doing this process for your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah, because survivability. If you keep going, right? Honestly, I feel like if you keep trading, if you do it for long enough, it's kind of like any long-term ETF chart, stock chart, unless you go crazy with shorting stuff, right? If you're a master shorter, then the whole game is different for you. But if you look at any chart, no matter how crazy it is in the middle, if you zoom out, the ETFs have gone up, Apple's gone up, Microsoft's gone up, all these things that are not going to go out of business just continue to steadily, slowly go up. There's bumps in the road. And I think we can look at our trading like that. we can look at it like that chart. As long as you do not go out of business, you're going to survive. There's going to be big drawdowns. There's going to be, little bumps on that climb, but you have to stay alive. That's all businesses do either. They stay alive and we got a couple more comments here. One from Story Seeker. Bring it up, Marcus. Thank you. Oh, okay, perfect. We missed this. Hey guys, this is Landon. I wanted to compliment Tim on his MMT workshop last Saturday. Perfect. That was the one-day workshop. It was very instructive and helpful. I'm using it successfully along with my mod CPR. Awesome.
Thank you.
And then, the mod CPR is modified CPR. That's what I teach with the synthetic cover calls on Wednesday, and Landon's a longtime person in there and is doing well, really learning how to do the process.
Awesome. Hey, Craig, it just happened that Tim was explaining what an overfill is. Just got overfilled on Apple.
Nice.
Was there
nice? I love those kind of trades.
Yeah. I found they happened a little bit more frequently on puts too. Have you found a correlation there?
Yes. Yeah, it does seem to happen more on puts. What's the saying, Randy, about puts and calls? Calls take the stairs, puts take the elevator.
Yeah. Well, they say that the market takes the elevator down, but the escalator up, or the stairs up. Oh. So it goes down really fast, but it takes a while for it to come back up. But over the course of history, the market's always higher in the future. So, but it when it goes down quickly, and then it stair steps its way back up.
I've heard the stairs and the other falls out the window is how I heard
it. No, that's only when the market crashes and those guys jump out of the window. That's what
exactly. Or you're caught in a turnaround that you can't get out of.
No, from Landon here. Marion was at the workshop too. Yeah. So that was a one-day workshop we have I think we're doing it once a quarter this year, Tim.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I think that's our plan. And it was great. We had about 50 people on there, great questions. And this was great because we had a lot of new people who were just checking out MMT and trying to learn the technique. So it was great. Lannon has been with us for a long time. He's one of the hardest working traders. He does both sides of the house, and I understand he's having good success with Randy, and has had good success with us. And but he's always learning. That's another thing. Continue learning, right? If this is your chosen craft, which this is for everyone on this. Everyone that's here, then put time into it. Continue to learn. Continue to review those charts, or review our ICE charts and your trades at the end of every day. The more you do that, the more you do your craft, the better you're going to get at it. And as everyone has said, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. We build wealth over time. And we just try to learn something new every day about our craft.
Yeah, I have to take such a you build wealth over time. How did you make 40% today?
Well, that happened pretty quick. Yes.
How much time does it take you to build wealth? 129% for the week. How much time does it take?
Good question, Tim. You need to slow down.
Well,
he's always so negative. We'll be doing the seminar in the morning and say, "Oh man, look at this volume on." Oh yeah. Oh, hey, Joe, how many are we doing? Well, you're up 35%. Oh, okay. Well,
just trying to stay humble sometimes.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, humble or hyper self-critical.
Well, and let me tell you something. The other big benefit of attending those sessions in the morning, micro moment sessions, you see all those guitars back there behind him. Every time he closes the trade, he has a little ditty he does with his guitar.
Wow.
So, entertaining. Yeah, he sings a little bit, and
Right.
Yeah. He's always plugged in. My button's always on.
Yep. You can always make music somehow.
That's awesome. Well, next weekend, no, not the 20th, right, Randy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 20th.
Yeah, 20th. This not this Saturday, but next Saturday, we are having a charting for momentum um, course, which is our next event, and this is a 1 day as well.
1 day. Yep,
Yeah,
1 day
1 day.
learning how to use the advanced charting to find that momentum that Tim's talking about, and be able to use all the whatever kind of technique that you want to use. You learn how to use the advanced chart to increase your decision process.
Yeah, charting for momentum is what it's called, and that it's totally self-explanatory. We're going to break down how momentum works, how it's changing a little bit in this market. Randy, how beginner do you start with that slide deck you have ready?
Well, yeah. As far as how to read the our advanced chart, which is proprietary to micro moment trading, start at the beginning. I mean, you don't have to know anything in order to take advantage of seeing how to use the chart. Of course, then you have to subscribe to the chart if you want to use it, but you can see what benefit you from it, and improve your decision. So knowing when to get in a position and when to get out based on that chart, it's really helpful, and it definitely increases the probability that you're going to be right.
Yeah, and regardless of what you end up trading, you have to understand, what vehicle you want to use. You have to understand the chart and the momentum first to even be able to enter that position in whatever time frame. Yeah, I feel like that's what you kind of learn is the time frames are just different and there's small adjustments, but within that, it kind of all operates the same. It just happens at different speeds. Randy, how is this workshop different from the 2 day?
Well, I do teach a 2-day workshop that's in depth on how to read the advanced chart that goes through much slower how to learn how to read it. This 1-day workshop is to take that knowledge and apply it to, now what do? You learn how to how to read the chart. Now, when you see momentum, what do you do with it? Using whether it's a covered call or a credit spread or a leaps or any process that you desire to use, is now how do you use the knowledge of the momentum on the chart to apply to your trading technique? And it can be used for anything.
Yep.
And if you're MMT, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
if you're an MMT trader, if you do our technique, this workshop is well worth attending. You can encourage everyone who trades our MMT to do that.
We've got one more 2-day that I do, and that Randy is also on there, and Tim occasionally. It's covered calls, the Leaps Wealth Option, which is the name of the book. We've been doing that seminar for 20 years and used to do it in person: Dallas, LA, Chicago, Boston, everywhere, Atlanta. And then all this stuff comes along, so we now just do it online. But we still do that seminar, and I do it every several months, and along with Randy, and I gotta say Tim comes in every now and then too. So calls and leaps, which is from day one the covered call business going forward. So it's a 2-day seminar.
Yeah, and that's where you really learn about options and how to trade with options in there from zero. That's where I first started back in 2006, was attending that workshop. I knew nothing about options before that, and was able to really learn and get in depth in them.
That's the seminar you started off with.
That is the very first one.
That's back when you were blind. And I really enjoyed those seminars in person with Randy around the country. It's exhausting because he never wants to quit. At least when we do it on the internet, I can hit the button and cut it off, and he just goes like that. He's just gone. So,
Teaching.
Yeah.
Cool. We've been on here, so we're going to start wrapping it up. Any final questions? Please drop them in now. We'll grab that before we leave. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. We will have On the social medias, we will have more information about that charting for momentum. Every once in a while, we run exclusive sales on the social media too. That a Christmas special. I mean, sometimes it's up to half every once in a while. We get nothing like that this year is coming, but there is some really cool things that come across there, as well as free videos that are just video lessons, example trades, where it's just a snippet from the live webinars. We have some snippets from Randy's webinars as well. So lots of free content on our social. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and soon to be another platform, and then obviously YouTube. So go ahead and give those a look, and we hope to see many of you at Charting for Momentum. Thanks, Joe, for being here. Tim and Randy.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Great topic, great day.
Yeah, absolutely. Join us next week. New topics and new panelists on our way.
Yeah, look forward to seeing Mark again. Have been a while since I've seen him.
He was on this morning and did real well. Just hit a home run right out of the park, first grade. So he's back.
He's a smart guy. That guy is a smart guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
It'll be good to see him back again.
Awesome. All righty.
Hope everybody has a great weekend.
Yeah. Likewise.